Hello guys, in this clip we're putting side by side the Asus Transformer Pad Infinity, probably the best Android tablet available in stores right now, and the almighty Apple iPad, the latest generation, the iPad 3. By the end of the clip you should know which one is better, why, and which one you should buy. So go ahead, watch the clip, and if you have any comments, don't forget, post them below and I'll try to answer. Thanks. Alright, we have the Asus Transformer Infinity here on the left and the iPad here on the right. And from the first moment you're going to notice that there are differences between these two. This is a landscape tablet with a 10.1-inch display and 16 by 10 aspect ratio. This is a portrait tablet with a 4 by 3 aspect ratio and a 9.7-inch screen. This is better for movies, this is better for reading text, browsing, stuff like this. In terms of resolution, both have high resolution panels. This is an IPS panel with a 2048 by 1536 pixels resolution, and this is 1920 by 1200 pixel, and it's actually an IPS plus, and that means that the brightness is going to be slightly better for this one, and this is the highest level brightness. Of course, on the iPad it's a little bit more difficult to go to the highest brightness level, but this is what you should expect. Of course, for our clip we're not going to use this because it will be quite difficult to see things on the screen, but when going outside, the extra nits on the TF700 are actually going to be helpful. And there is another clip on our channel that will tell you something about how these two perform outside. Now let's have a look at the exterior. The iPad, it's pretty classic, aluminum bottom, the Apple logo, and beneath it there's the wireless antenna. And on the other hand, this one, metal, looks nice, silver metal with a circular texture, and a plastic strap here on top, and beneath there is the wireless antenna and the GPS receiver. And this is quite good because it no longer has the problems that the previous version had, the Transformer Prime, with the wireless signal. The speaker here, only one speaker on the TF700, and of course only one speaker on the Asus as well. Now, having a quick look at the ports on the side, we're going to start with the Asus and the speaker, it's here, and the iPad. We're going to start with the iPad, and we have a docking connector here and the charging connector here on the bottom. On this part you have the volume rocker and the screen lock button. On top you have the power button, you have the headphone jack, microphone, you have a camera on the back without flash, and that's pretty much all. While on the Transformer Infinity you have a bunch of extra things. And we're going to start with the bottom. You have this, the connectors for attaching it to the docking station, the proprietary charging and the connector you're going to use to connect to a computer, the headphone, and the extras are this, a micro HDMI port and a micro SD card reader. You also have here the power button, volume rocker, and a microphone here, one of the many microphones. And on the back, well, there is an 8 megapixel camera with flash, with an LED flash that's not going to be available on the iPad. Now, in terms of hardware, both of these are very powerful. The TF700 runs on an NVIDIA Tegra 3 platform. It's a quad-core processor, and you can go ahead from here and select between a couple of different modes. You have the power saving mode, you have the regular mode, okay, select it, and the performance mode. And on this one you only have a single mode. It's a dual-core processor, but both of them are very powerful. They will handle all the daily applications, and of course they will handle games and video content. I'm not going to get into details comparing the Android 4.0 ice cream sandwich that runs on the TF700 with the iOS 5.1, I believe now, that's on the Apple iPad. Both of these operating systems have their advantages. For instance, Android, way better notification system, widgets, and easier to use let's say, system, because in order to get music, to get files on it, you don't have to use a synchronizing third-party software or synchronizing software like you have on this one. This one is dependent on iTunes. The interface is just simple. You can't really customize it. You can create folders and put some quick launch icons in here, and that's pretty much all. But this actually runs better. It's more fluent, it's smoother, it does apps don't crash, so everything runs a lot smoother. I also like the keyboard a lot better on this one. The overall tactile feedback is definitely better. I can type with using this keyboard without a problem. On this you have sometimes lag and it's not going to work the same. So those are just some of the things. Now in terms of apps, this one has a bunch of apps from Asus which are actually quite good. You have Polaris Office, you have My Library, MyNet and MyCloud. But if you're going to third-party apps, you have the Play Store and the App Store. Definitely better apps in the App Store, and more apps as well, but that's not what matters. What matters is that in here it's very easy to find applications that will work on the iPad and just on the iPad. They're not meant for the iPhone. For instance, you have here top 8 iPad apps, free iPad apps and crossing iPad apps. Well, on this one they're all mixed together. Most of the apps are not made for the bigger screen, so they will not look as they should look on a 10-inch display, while they will look better on of course on a small screen on the phone. So this is one thing I actually don't like. Plus the third-party apps are way better, like I said, way better on the iPad than they are on the Android. Of course, there's one more thing. On iPad, on Android you have the Google applications and they're very good. Gmail is better, Maps is better than what you have on this one. You have versions for iPad as well, but they're not as good. Still, there will be iOS 6 coming in a couple of months, and that should change a couple of things, should bring a couple of improvements, and the new maps system, which I personally am waiting for. As for performances, both of these devices are able to run games, both of these devices are able to run YouTube content, stuff like this, but it's slightly smoother on this one. For instance, I'm going on YouTube and okay, let's go to most viewed, and I'm picking one of those and one of those, and overall the experience, let's see, okay, not really the best clip here, but I really like the experience on this one. It's faster, it's just faster, but when it comes to playing videos, well, things are a little bit different. First of all, you can't really play all kinds of files on the iPad, only limited to MP4 and a couple of others, MOV, stuff like this. Well, on this one you can. You have to use third-party software or iTunes to get content on this one. On this one you just have to connect it to your computer. Plus, on this one you can actually play, you can actually play 1080p without a problem. And this one I'm using a AV Player HD, which is actually the best that you can use for stuff like this. And let's go ahead and play a 1080p MKV and 1080p MKV in here as well. And I'm using MX Player.
Hello? Penny, I don't have much.
And that crashed. Yeah, this happens. It even happens on the iPad. It doesn't happen that often, but with this particular application it does happen. On this one it's actually nearly flawless. It's working quite good. Okay, so it's a 1080p MKV. There is a little bit of lag with 1080p's, but if we're using 1080p MOV or I don't know, something else, it will work without a problem. Actually, MOVs will work on this one as well. Well, we don't have any videos. Okay, that's not good, but we can still use AV Player and select the MOV, and you will be able to play MOV files on both of these devices. But overall, getting your own content, your music, your files on the Android tablet, it's easier. And in terms of multimedia performances, I'd say this is better. Plus, when dealing with games, you have the Tegra Zone here, which are a couple of very good titles specifically designed for Tegra tablets. But on the App Store, you definitely have a lot of good games. There are some cross-platform games. For instance, you have FIFA, you have Tiger Woods. I'd say that their versions for the iPad are slightly more better polished and they work better, they never crash, stuff like this. Okay, another thing we should talk about is battery life. Well, this is a 42 watt hour battery, which is quite big, while this one has only a 25 watt hour battery, but both of them are pretty much on par. About 8 hours of life, probably a little bit better for the Asus if you're going to select this, the Eco mode, and it will last for maybe 9 hours, which is quite good. Of course, both will be alright for 10 plus hours of video playing, 720p video looping, but for games and regular stuff, this should last a little bit longer. Now, they both also get hot on the back. On the Asus, this part gets hot, while on this one, I believe it's the bottom part. And well, this is not really such a big issue because they're not get very hot unless you're going to use the screen to highest brightness and run games for hours. And even so, in that case, if you're using a leather jacket for this too, you should be alright. On my iPad, I use a leather case, and I have no problem at all. I never feel the case. I never find it bothering because it gets slightly warmer than the previous generation iPad 2 actually did. In terms of prices, well, this one goes for $499. That's for the 16GB Wi-Fi only version. It's also available in 32, 64GB with Wi-Fi, and there are 4G LTE versions in stores as well. This one is not yet available in stores, and they say that the 16GB should go for $14.99 as well. So these two should be quite on par in terms of prices, starting at $499 for both of them. However, this one will also get a docking station, which is quite cool, and the docking station offers extra battery life, offers keyboard, extra ports for just $150 more, which could make it a more versatile everyday device that you're going to use for more than just video consumptions, media consumptions. Alright, those are just some of the things I wanted to tell you about these two tablets. In the end, I can't really say which one is better, but if you want to see some extra details or have any questions, post them below. Go on the site on tlbhd.com and read the reviews. For me, I still consider this is the better pick for the average user because it's a good device, and overall the experience provided by iOS and the iPad, it's smoother, it's simpler. This one has a lot of advantages, it's customizable, but just the everyday feeling, the thing that actually matter is not as consistent as on the iPad. Plus, you don't get the apps. You don't get all the apps that you have for the iPads. And there are a bunch of apps, not even games, not just games, but educational apps and all these third-party interesting pieces of software that could make your life a little bit better and your experience with your tablet slightly improved. Okay, that's it for now. That was the comparison between the Apple iPad 3 and the Asus Transformer Pad Infinity. Both probably some of the best tablets available right now. This is the most popular. This is the best with Android, and it should remain the best for quite a while. It's up to you to choose which one you like best. They are pretty much based. They pretty much go for the same price tag, so that's out of the question. Choose Android, choose iOS, it's up for you to decide. If you have any question, post them below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel and press the thumbs up on our clips. That's gonna help us a lot. Thank you.